What is going on, y'all? My name is Nathan Knox, and I am your host and founder of your favorite talk show to tap you into all the things surrounding the sports world at the top. And here at the top, we're going to break down the NFL Week 14, as well as all the headlines that have been happening across college football. We have some WNBA, we have some NBA stuff, so we're really going to get into the thick of things. But right now, let's start with some football off the top. Now, the headline of the week. Now, listen, this is what you call star power, right? Shedeur Sanders took a L last week against the Titans. 2-point loss against Cam Ward and the Titans. You know, two really good friends battling out. But Shedeur put up 350 plus yards? I mean, yes, he did have an ill-timed interception, but my dude was hitting guys all over the field. Deep routes, dump offs, checkdowns. Like, Shedeur was, honestly, it was more than a game manager. He was being a game changer by literally putting guys in the right spots, diming dudes, leading them down the field. He was doing what he needed to do. The friction between him and Kevin Stefanski needs to be studied in a book, because I don't know if y'all can, explain it to me, but there is no way you could have Shedeur playing at the level that he's playing at in the game. And then for the last play on a 2-point conversion, after he's led the team downfield, you take him off the field and run Wildcat? Like, yes, we've seen it work before, but the Wildcat formation, you're down 2. Your young QB has just proven that he's confident enough to clearly put points up on the board and throw the ball all over the field and make risky passes that, honestly, most of them were landing. And then Stefanski, you're going to take him out? Like, listen, people have called for his job before. It's a fireable offense. What are you doing? Like, why wouldn't you want to see your QB in a position like that late in the game while he's developing, and you're not doing nothing this season? You're literally not doing anything this season. As the Browns, you're behind the Bengals, you're behind the Ravens, you're behind the Steelers. You're not making the playoffs. Honestly, you're probably not making the playoffs for the next 2-3 years. So how about you develop some guys that could change your future? Shedeur is someone that could honestly change the future of your franchise. So why not invest in him? The man has the confidence of a quarterback that that an NFL quarterback needs. Half the QBs in the NFL doesn't even have that type of quarterback. And on top of that, he's poised and in control of his situation. Like, you know what? Hey, if I'm, the president of the Browns, I'm clearing the house. Honestly, someone needs to be above the Browns team and clear house. Goodell need to come in as somebody and literally just clear the entire house. That house is on fire, and they haven't seen no water in weeks, days, years. So Shedeur can finally put that fire out, and they're literally handicapping him so he doesn't. Make it make sense. Continuing on with the football headlines and stuff like that, the Colts are literally in the free fall from the top of the AFC. I mean, earlier in the year, they were really surprising us. Daniel Jones was coming out balling. Jonathan Taylor was playing MVP football, and the Colts were rolling. Now, they've lost a couple of their last games. Daniel Jones goes down with the injury where he's out for the season, and you don't even have a reliable backup on that team, because Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson were competing for that starting job. A. Rich is out with on the IR this year. So it's like, where do you go from here? You have a pretty decent record to play off of, but if you collapse and lose out, then you may not even squeak in. And if you do win a few games, now you're hobbled into the playoffs. And, this year in the AFC, who the hell knows what could go on in these playoffs? I mean, picking the final 7 teams this year is going to be difficult. At the end of this week, probably Friday, I'll put out a prediction of what I think my AFC and NFC 7 playoff teams will be. But for right now, it's honestly a toss-up, But pivoting to the NFC, the Packers are out here rolling. I know I've talked about Jordan Love, but the dude is hooping. He's hooping. He got his Packers in first place. They just beat the Bears. They're looking like they're trending in a super positive direction heading into the playoffs. You got 4 games left. One of them is against my Ravens, so I hope that they lose against. But honestly, just take care of business in the NFC, right? Like, the NFC, I feel like, is always open. Right now, the AFC seems to be open too, I guess. But with a vulnerable NFC in place, a strong Packers team, Jordan Love could honestly make a deep, deep run into the playoffs. I'm not sure what Philly's doing right now. Detroit doesn't look great. You just beat Chicago. Like, you know, you got to worry about Seattle. Their defense is really good. But outside of those, you know, contenders for real, like, I truly feel like the Packers can make, you know, a good case for being the representatives of the NFC when it comes to the Super Bowl. So don't quote me on that right now, but that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Also, there is a search party out. There is an APB. I see Lamar and Patrick Mahomes on the side of milk cartons. They are missing. Where are we going? Ravens and Chiefs. Did we take the year off? We must have taken the year off. If you think about it, Lamar and Patrick Mahomes have won, what, 4 out of the last 8 MVPs? Maybe 4 out of the last 6? 4 out of the last 7? Like, what is going on? You playing that? Like, honestly, let's talk about it real quick. Yes, injuries have played a factor. But you're seeing teams now that have invested in their team and just had to plug in a quarterback, be successful. Denver was one. Everyone knew Denver was a QB away. They had their defense right. They had some offensive weapons. They needed that QB to come in and play. And what do they have now? A QB that's coming in and play. New England. Everyone thought New England were writing them off. You needed a good QB. Their defense is playing lights out. Their offense is there. They have a great O-line. What do? You put a young, developing QB behind that line, and you let him develop. In his second year, Drake May is literally putting his team, not on his back, but leading his team to great wins. Talk about the schedule all you want. They're beating the teams that they play each week. There's, you know, as an NFL fan, you know, they're trap weeks. They're teams where any given Sunday, honestly. And on those given Sundays, the Patriots are coming out with wins. So I want to talk down on them, but at this point, I really can't because they look like they'll probably be the number 1 seed in the AFC, barring no, you know, huge collapses. You know, I want my Ravens to beat them too late in the year, but at the end of the day, this team is rolling, so I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Let's talk about some stuff that was not going on in the NFL, but our other headlines that we've seen throughout the week. Now, this happened about a week ago. Since then, Ohio State did lose to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. However, before that, we had the huge rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan. 2 teams, 2 universities, 2 fan bases that truly hate each other. I mean, hate each other. They do not play. They don't like, you know, there are just no good thing. They have nothing good to say about the other. And Michigan has nothing good to say about Ohio State. They are just bitter, bitter rivals, right? Now, shout out to Ryan Data because he was prepared. When you play a rivalry game such as the Ohio State versus Michigan game, especially with Michigan being at home, as a rival head coach, you never know what you could deal with. Like, there's always, you know, in basketball, you got to deal with the clock guy. He's for the home team. You got to deal with the fans. You got to deal with the refs. But Ryan Day was smart. He thought, he just had a hunch that the headset communication system may go out during the Michigan game. And what happened? Briefly after the second half started, the headset communication system went out. Was Michigan cheating? Did they try to pull a fast one? Not sure, but Ryan Day was prepared. He prepared earlier in the week. He said his QB, he said, yo, Jude, what we're going to do is you're going to run to the sideline after every play, and I'm going to give you the next 2-3 plays. You go out and you call them. Literally, Julian Sand was talking about it felt like he was back in high school again when he ran to the sidelines and had to catch plays. But the fact that Ryan Day prepared for this days in advance like just shows that coaches really have to think about every possible scenario that could literally come up in any point of the game. They have to. Like late late clock plays and 2-minute drills. What are our plays to the sidelines? What can we do to get a first down here? What can we, our special teams coverage, our fakes. You have to be prepared for everything. And Ryan Day, big shout out to him. He was prepared for an entire communication outage and still was able to communicate through that and get a big win. So huge shout out to Ryan Day. But, you Michigan, y'all getting a little dicey with what's going on. Like the Ohio State thing, right? The headsets going out. Y'all just got booked up for, cheating scandals when you're trying to read signs. If I was you, Michigan, I would tread real lightly, because if someone goes and looks into that Ohio State scenario and comes back and there was foul play, hey, Michigan may have some sanctions coming up against them again, which will be a whole nother story. But y'all really got to tighten up when it comes to whether the cheating scandals or just scandals in general. Like, just tighten that stuff up. Shout out to the Club 520 podcast putting it on. That's Jeff Teague, and then internet sensation, his right-hand man, B. Hen, came out with a great Adidas sneaker deal where they also have merch. It's the first podcast to really gain a certified sneaker deal from a large major brand like Adidas. I feel like it's revolutionary because there are a lot of fans of the 520 podcast. I feel like Jeff Teague does a really good job of storytelling. Not all retired athletes are the best at breaking down the game and storytelling. Some are better at just looking at, tape and breaking that film down. Some are better at recounting old stories about how they played and what players did this and that. Teague and Kevin Garnett, I feel like, are my top two. I don't know who rounds out the top three, but there are some, like, those two stand out to me in terms of the best retired players and how they present their stories. Now, I feel like Adidas did right in all aspects, business-wise. Boom, you hit in the podcast space, right? Now, not only are you on the court, but when people want to tap in to their favorite podcast now, which may be the 520, they're seeing your stuff as well. And you're sanctioned because not only are they a certified brand, but they also have Jeff Teague, who I believe was an Adidas athlete. Please check me if I'm wrong there, but you basically staying home. Like, that's a great plug by Adidas. And then with the promo, with the Teague jersey, the socks and the shoes, like, shout out to the Teague time thing, viral moment that was going on. So Adidas said, 1, we're listening. 2, we tapped in with the culture. And 3, we going to make sure that the gear that we giving y'all is cool stuff that people want to buy. I'm tired of brands slapping their logo on these, non-artistic, non-fly gear. Like, people want to actually wear this stuff. So if you just slap 520 on a t-shirt, nobody wants to buy that. But I'm seeing some of the pieces that they drop in, and honestly, it's something that I may want to grab myself because they're doing a good job over there. The ratings have just came back for the NFL Thanksgiving Day games, and honestly, they were record-breaking. I mean, I could have called it, but the Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys game was the highest performing NFL game ever. Ever. Now, you have America's team versus basically the dynasty of the last, 5 to 8 years battling it out. And mind you, both teams didn't have great records, but we're talking about the product. You have 2-star QBs, you have 2-star brands going head to head on Thanksgiving Day. But what I want to ask the people is, what is the best sports holiday? Is it NFL Thanksgiving or is it NBA Christmas? Because I'm not going to lie, both days have the vibes. Like, you wake up on Thanksgiving. Mind you, you sleep in late because you was just out the night before with your homies from back home, right? Now I'm up around 12, right? Cool. Have a little light breakfast, very, very light, because obviously we know we got the dinner coming later. And I throw on the 1 o'clock game. Boom, watching the 1 o'clock game. Then we in time for the main event. Well, I would say the main event, which is the 4:30 game. You're in front of the 4:30 game. You got your plate of food out. You eating. You having a good time with the family. Maybe you just took your walk. Who knows? But you enjoying this 4:30 game. And then after you just took your midday nap after the 4:30 meal, you wake up to primetime football at 8:20. Hey, you know, they got the blueprint down on Thanksgiving, but Christmas Day, waking up, you got hoops on at 12. You just finished opening up your gifts, around 10:30, 11, depending on when your parents wanted to let you open them. Then you got game after game after game, star after star, matchup after matchup. I mean, what is it, 5 games on the Christmas Day NBA slate? So, to me, I'm a little biased. I do love my NBA Christmas basketball. I'm a hooper. What could I say? But both vibes are truly immaculate. So what I need to do is I need y'all to vote. I want y'all to vote on what y'all think is better. Is it NFL Thanksgiving or is it NBA on Christmas? We know where I'm leaning, but, what's y'all thoughts? The Cleveland Cavaliers were fined $250,000 for arresting their star guard Darius Garland during a nationally televised game. Thank you to the NBA. Why? Because as an organization, listen, y'all get y'all schedule way in advance. Y'all know the nationally televised game. At the end of the day, the NBA is a business, and I'm glad that the NBA is holding these teams accountable. If we're going to put our product on national TV for the entire country to watch, best believe you gonna play your stars. Adam Silver over here like, what's going on? You gonna play your stars. We're not doing no resting. Unless you're injured, we are not doing a whole load management. No. For national televised games, now we got games Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night across NBC, ABC, ESPN, Peacock, Amazon Prime. If it's going to be nationally televised, play your stars. And I'm glad that the league's holding them accountable. $250K on Cavaliers head top. Cool. Now y'all got to pay that. And the next time you have a nationally televised game, play all your guys. Simple as that. Along, staying in tune with these NBA fines, the 76ers were fined $100,000 themselves for false injury reporting. Again, if we're going to have gambling on these games, if people are going to be tapped in with the fantasy on these games, if I look at the report of a Sixers game and Joel Embiid is listed as out, that 100,000% affects how I'm going to bet on the game, how I'm going to play fantasy, who I'm going to pick to win the game. There's a whole bunch of factors, especially a star player like Embiid is going to be out. Now, even though Embiid was listing out, not only did he play, but he played his season high in minutes. So where is the disconnect? Who is holding these teams accountable? Because not only was he healthy enough to go, but the staff thought that he was healthy enough to play the most minutes of the season up until this point. So clearly, y'all were just not reporting the news. There is no way he wasn't day to day. It wasn't game time decision. He was listed as out, and that is the problem. So I'm glad the NBA held the 76ers accountable. $100,000 on top of their head top. And Embiid, honestly, it's not really a him problem. It's more of the training staff and the coaching staff in terms of alerting the league and the officials of when their players are available or not. It's that simple. This one was tough, yo, because the disrespect is uncanny. The disrespect is honestly blasphemy. Like, the disrespect that I've seen from the Clippers organization is astronomical. Excuse the SAT words, but I'm truly, truly lost for words. Chris Paul is truly a legend of the NBA game. Chris Paul, you could argue, and along with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and Matt Barnes, shout out to that whole team, is the sole reason why people even care about the Clippers. I mean, yes, the Clippers will always be the Lakers' little bro. But they had started to make some traction to where you would be like, nah, LA cool for the Clips too. You were attracting stars like Kawhi, James Harden, dudes coming into your building and playing for your team. Paul George, like, you had dudes playing for the Clippers that obviously grew up Lakers fans. And y'all not treating them right. First of all, Blake said he wanted to retire Clipper, shipped his ass up out of there. Chris Paul comes back to be a vet on your team to help y'all go trend in the right direction, because who the hell know y'all in Kawhi purgatory right now. Outside of, you know what? I ain't even going black on Kawhi. But the Clippers are just lost. And then on top of having Chris Paul a leader, we have reports coming out that he's holding people accountable in the locker room. Coaches, players alike. Now, him and Ty Lue are beefing? Over what? How is a coach beefing with a player who's trying to better the team? We're not even talking about, like, respectfully, Chris Paul ain't no John Morant. Like, what are we talking about here? Chris Paul is literally a model citizen. He's a father. He's a part of the NBA Players Association. He was the president for a long time. So let's put, like, come on now. The disrespect to CP is crazy to me. I honestly don't understand it. But what the Clippers have clearly shown is that they are by far one of the worst organizations in sports. Steve Ballmer, I don't care how much money you put into the team, how much money you put into the stadium. If you don't take care of your people, others will notice. I promise you. If you don't take care of yours, others will notice. If I see Clippers legend Chris Paul get released overnight with no explanation, if I'm a star player, why am I going there? Why am I going there? Y'all just released Chris Paul, who was a staple of your franchise. I don't care how good he is right now. I know a bunch of veteran players that can't play a lick of basketball still on rosters because of what they do for the locker room. And you're the Clippers organization, and this man is literally trying to help y'all win. And you say, you know what? We don't need the help, and we don't want the help. We just gonna go opposite directions. Honestly, Clippers, y'all really let a lot of people down. There was a Clippers fan of 19 years that literally came out and made a public statement and said that he's going over to the Lakers. It's sad. It's really sad. Like, y'all are attracting stars. Y'all have a good coach right now. Y'all have a lot of money behind you with an owner that actually gives a F about his team. And this is what y'all do? Hey, you know what? Clippers, y'all on your own, man, because it doesn't look good for y'all. And after this year, OKC got y'all pick. After this year, it's like there's not even a glimmer of hope for the future for the Clippers, unless Kawhi wake up and become Jordan overnight. But the way he's missing games doesn't look likely. So as the Clippers organization, hey, it's looking for some dark times right now, man. And honestly, justice for Chris Paul. Justice for Chris. He does not deserve that as an NBA legend. That is honestly ridiculous. Let's talk some WNBA business. I'm not going to lie, y'all. The WNBA is being very, very disrespectful to the ladies right now, right? So if y'all do not know, the WNBA and the WNBA Players Association are in negotiations for the new CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement. this new CBA will introduce new salaries for the players, living conditions, and just a better share, overall revenue share for the players themselves, whether it comes to ads, commercials, brands, marketing, all of that. Now, basically what is happening is that the commissioner of the WNBA, right, wrote up this CBA that the WNBA players did not agree with. They sent it back with red lines. She got it and said, all right, well, I see your red lines, and I'm going to take those, and I'm just going to reword them and see if you guys can still point it out. Then I'm going to hand it back to you. And the Players Association receives the revised document, realize that it's more or less the same, and goes back with them. So now this negotiation window has opened up all the way through January 9th, and they have until January 9th to finally set on an agreement. If not, we could possibly face a lockout in the WNBA. Now, certain things that popped up in this new CBA that I just want to point out for the audience here, right? So we have a $1 million base salary for a few of the top level players in the league. Now, not everybody's getting $1 million, but some of the few top players in the league will get $1 million base salary, as well as a new compensation model for the rest of the players. So I'm not sure what the average salary is. I think it was around 200,000. They're trying to bump it up to around mid fours, right? I think that's what the average will be once everything is all said and done. Now, teams will also no longer provide housing for players. Now, this I feel like could be a huge problem. One, because if you pay attention to the WNBA, you understand how volatile those rosters are. I mean, we see top drafted rookies literally not make rosters because there's just not enough space for them. So on top of expansion teams literally are just flying through players. And if people couldn't afford their livelihoods before and they're not getting team housing, then if I'm in Seattle and I get shipped off to New York and I have to go to New York and I don't know anyone there, then I'm gonna have to get an apartment. And if I get an apartment and then get traded mid-season and teams aren't housing these players, how are they going to afford these leases? How are they going to afford these contracts? Like, we have to think about the livelihoods of the players playing the actual game, you know? Another thing that we saw was that, which honestly blew my mind, is that they're proposing to start the season earlier. Now, we understand that the women's college basketball tournament has been a spectacle for at least the last 5 years. And I mean a spectacle. I mean, it is something that we all watch. The women's tournament has the stars that the men's tournament needs. I mean, the Jujus, the Pages, the Ozzies, the Olivia Miles, like those are the stars that are coming together for the women's basketball tournament. The WNBA said, you know what? Actually, you know, with this new CBA, we're going to try to move the schedule earlier. So if you're a star player in the NCAA tournament, you could either play with your team and then come into the WNBA season with no camp experience, or you could skip the NCAA tournament and report to your team's camp after draft. What type of position are y'all putting these women in? Seriously, though. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, are y'all not even thinking? We're talking about college athletes that could be 20 or 21 years old making a decision on leaving their team that they just led to an NCAA tournament or joining the team that just drafted them's camp. Like, you got to be able to put these people in better positions to make better decisions, because this is not something that I could even think that the WNBA Players Association would accept. Like, it's just terrible conditions. Like, players already have a short off season between their college season and when they're going to play professionally. So as a league, y'all have to go back in the drawing board, rewrite some stuff, hit up your lawyers. Honestly, hear from the players, because these players aren't making unreasonable asks. Hear from the players, find a middle ground, and honestly, give up that middle ground, because the players are going to make your league skyrocket. Because if not, leagues like Unrivaled are coming. Leagues like the big three that we see on the men's side may creep into, like, first of all, I love Unrivaled. Let's talk about Unrivaled for a second. You get the star players, you get fierce competition, and they do things that we want to see from even the NBA, like a one-on-one tournament during their little all-star break. Like, they're giving us a product that we want to see. So as the WNBA, if y'all not up to par, people are going to find another avenue to get their women's basketball fix, and it just won't be y'all. That is all with this week's episode of At the Top. I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in and all of the support. As always, I will see y'all at the top.